Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am back, SC Romero, here to talk about the best team in college football. Maybe not because we're not necessarily national championships, but it is what it is. We're still the best team in college football, the Oregon Ducks. This is the CFB Nation. Don't forget to subscribe. You are now listening to the O.
All right, everybody got goals and aspirations. You know how you get those? Be the best where you're at.
What does Evan Stewart bring to the table here? In short, you get a ball.
The grass is not always green. In fact, the grass is damn green in Eugene.
The grass is damn green in Eugene. You are damn right in there. Now, as people know, the NFL Combine is going on. I believe defensive players have gone some chat. So we'll go into some of the Ducks later in the series about, some of the Ducks that went through the Combine, going through NFL, because congrats to them. But right now, we're focusing on what's happening now with the Oregon Ducks. And in this episode, we're really going to dive into the offensive side of the ball. We'll get into the defensive side as well, but we really will talk about the new look because we did lose some weapons. Our top running back in Jordan James going to NFL. Top quarterback in Dillon Gabriel going to NFL. Top wide receiver in Ted Johnson going to NFL. Also, Trayshawn Holden going to these guys are going to NFL. Terrence Ferguson going to NFL. We have some linemen, Johnny Cornelius, Josh Connolly going to the NFL. A lot of pieces moving forward, right? And the best teams they set a cheer if that guy leaves or whatever, but they move forward, right? It's a congratulations. It's we were happy you were here. We know you're moving on to bigger and better things, going pro, phenomenal, living out childhood dreams, but we got to move forward, right? So we can't lose that hope. We can't lose that focus of what's going on. Because we're losing guys doesn't mean we're not ready for next year. So we're going to break down this offense, try to go into some guys I haven't really mentioned a lot about, but one being Dante Moore. Now, the quarterback room is always a competition for him. That's what Dan Lanning wants to do. He wants to compete, and he believes that when there is players, personnel in certain positions competing, that's going to bring out the best in people. So right now, we can assume Dante Moore is going to be at the helm of the Oregon Ducks. Now, Dante Moore is going to be a completely different vibe, if you will, than what Dillon Gabriel was. Dillon Gabriel, the accuracy was there. I get it. He threw it precisions, but we even said it during the season. Like, there's still some things missing. We just didn't have that, right? That juice that we know the Oregon Ducks to have. Dante Moore, I feel he's going to do that. He's going to push the ball down even further. He's going to make it down the field quicker. It's going to really be a, flash to the past kind of deal where this is the Oregon Ducks. This is what we did. Now I'm not saying Dillon Gabriel didn't do that. There were some big plays for the Ducks there. But Dante Moore, the way he's going to be at the helm of the offense is really going to elevate everyone around him. Why? Because he's a playmaker in itself. Dillon Gabriel he had his moments, but he also had his flaws. And every quarterback, every player has their flaws. Dante Moore is going to go in there, and he is going to lead by example. He's going to, when you see him on the field, you're going to understand this is the leader. This is the guy that takes control. He's going to go through his reads. He's going to throw some darts. He has a pretty good arm to even get the deeper balls. He has some good ball placement, but also that field awareness to understand when the pocket's collapsing. He can escape it. And I don't want to say escape it to run. He does have some ability, but he's going to escape it to allow his wide receivers to go further and extend those plays for him as well. I'm excited to see what Dante Moore does because I think he's going to elevate everyone around him. Kind of saw it a little bit last year as well, just him on the sidelines and what he was doing. He was in the games. It's not someone that's just sitting back and waiting for his turn. He's sitting back studying. He's looking at what Oregon's all about. Now, he was originally committed to Oregon, for those that don't know, when he was a freshman. And then he actually ended up going to UCLA. That didn't work out. Hey, it doesn't always work out for you in certain situations. He came back to Oregon. But he understood, hey, I need to sit back behind Dillon Gabriel, understand the system, and when it's my time to go, it's my time. And that's something Dan Lanning's really trying to do a lot better. Is he's saying, look, guys, you can come here. You look at the class, the 2025 class that they have, the freshman class. great athletes. They have the transfer portal guys, great transfer. They have depth. They have tons of depth. What do you do with all that depth? You can't play everyone on the field at that time. That's okay. Dan Lanning makes it known, like, look, man, this is our guy, Dillon Gabriel, but we want you here. We believe in you. Dante Moore said, okay, I believe in me too. I'm going to sit back and study. I'm going to watch what this offense is about, how it's ran, because it's going to be a similar style offense, but it's going to be a more explosive, I feel like. It's going to be a reminiscence again to the old Oregon Ducks we used to know, where it's like, these are big plays. We're going to tire out defenses because we're going to get down the field quickly and make sure they know, hey, we're here to make a move and make some big plays happen. Now, as we know, football is not a solo sport. There's definitely X factors of the positions. There's definitely playmakers within the realm on defense or offense, but it's a team sport. So you need teams around it. So let's talk a little bit about this wide receiver room, the Fab Five. Now, we talked about the Corey Moore, the freshman coming in, top prospect and all that. But as I just mentioned, Dan Lanning is someone that says, hey, earn your stripes in a sense. Come here, earn your stripes to make sure you can get on the field as well. So the Fab Five, we're not going to mention the freshman here. We're going to talk about Evan Stewart. He should be the leader of the wide receiver room. He, again, like Moore, waited his turn, came in. Ches Johnson came and did some things. If Trayshawn Holden never got hurt or never, missed some time, Evan Stewart may have been irrelevant, to be honest. It would have been just him. Luckily, that didn't happen. We saw some glimpse of Evan Stewart and what he did. This is the year it takes off. To be honest, we've been waiting 3 years for this year to come up, and we're finally going to see it. Evan Stewart, we'll go ahead. Get my receipt. Top 10 wide receiver this year, Evan Stewart. Get my receipt on that. Top 10 wide receiver, Evan Stewart. And that's really my belief in what Dante Moore can do. I think this is going to be a deadly combination. I think this is going to be a combination that no one's really prepared for. Maybe Evan Stewart a little bit. But even then, I feel Dan Lanning told Evan Stewart, yo, put the brakes on right now. We're not ready to unleash you yet. Because we saw a glimpse of the explosiveness and what he can do. We saw a glimpse on how they can line them up around the field and what he can do with his speed, his route running, his footwork, all that. We saw a glimpse of it. This is the year to take off. This is the year where Evan Stewart goes to that next level. Okay, so I feel he's going to lead that wide receiver room. Now, they also do have a guy that was a freshman last year, a guy I talked about a lot. I did see this guy at the spring game. Saw him do a few things here and there during season as well, but that's going to be freshman last year, now sophomore, Jeremiah McClellan. This kid is a fluid runner. This kid has the technique and the knowledge of the game to understand where to find the soft spots in the coverage, to understand how to beat defenses, but also his hands are solid. His catch radius is pretty good in the sense that if Dante Moore throws a little bit further left or a little bit underneath where he has to bend down and grab it, Jeremiah McClellan is the guy. I think Evan Stewart will be the wide receiver one of the team. Jeremiah McClellan, though, might have the best hands on the team. I really love what this guy can do, what he can do to go way up there and get after the ball, catch it at the high point, and then what he does when the ball's in his hands is very fluid and crisp in what he's doing there. Now, transfer portal guys, a guy we brought in from Florida State. Now, talk about Florida State. They had a rough season. That's okay. But Malik Benson, this was a guy that I've talked about in the past. This was supposed to be the wide receiver one for Florida State. Florida State has struggled, so we're not going to talk much about him. But Malik Benson is also a crisp route runner. He's someone that he can, if you have Evan Stewart and McClellan going deep, Benson can too. But Benson might be their underneath guy. I think he's a little bit more agile on what he can do, a little bit more crisp and more. When I say crisp, I mean it's like sharp cuts that he does when he's route running. I really want to see that. I think they're going to be able to utilize him around the field. And it's really going to open up some opportunities for the other wide receivers because he has the ability to play outside. He can play in your style as well, but he's someone that can go out there and make it known, hey, he could do a big play. And what's that going to do for the defense? They're going to focus in on him. And then guess what? Now Evan Stewart and Jeremiah McClellan are up as well. So I do enjoy having him in. I think, like we did Evan Stewart, he's not going to be one of their top wide receivers in the sense that he's not going to, showcase 800 yards or anything like that. But he is going to be a wide receiver that when he's on the field, watch out for him because I think he could be a playmaker and make the things happen. But again, he's got to show out there in camp. or he's just gonna be like, bro, you're really the bench guy coming up because you're gonna be the guy that we want to come in to get our guys a breather. But guess what? When he comes in, it's gonna be some damn good football that we see as well. Justice Lowe, another wide receiver. This guy has steadily been waiting for his opportunity, right? And this is a guy that is gonna get there. He's a little bit more crisp as well. He's probably gonna be playing more so towards your outside area, maybe opposite Evan Stewart there, if you will. Let's move Evan Stewart in the slot. We're going to see they're going to be doing all sorts of motions as well. He's been waiting his time as well. This kid is a phenomenal athlete as well. Again, this is his opportunity to say, okay, let's go make it. You know, he has some good size, 6'1", 185, your typical wide receiver, 21 receptions, you know, last year. So this is an opportunity for him to really be a leader of the team. I don't expect him to really go up and again be one of your top wide receivers, but he's gonna be relevant and he's gonna make some plays when they need it as well. Again, when you have guys like Nevin Stewart, like a McClellan, like a Moore, Malik Benson, you need your guys like Justice Lowe to say, hey, maybe our defenses are looking at these guys. Justice Lowe could still make a big play just as much as Evan Stewart can as well. We're just going to see a lot more Evan Stewart on the field than we will Lowe. But we're excited to see him. Gary Bryant Jr., another guy that is 5'11", 180, very good, very athletic. We saw glimpses of him as well. He's very fast. And when he was on the field, we've heard Lanning talk about him and what he's excited of him. He is a speedy wide receiver that can make some big things happen. He's someone that will really pop. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Bryant Jr. On special teams as well, returning some kicks, because he does have that fluidity to make your defenders miss and make things happen, make big plays happen when it needs to. Now, one guy that this is the Fab Five, right? We talked about, you know, you mentioned Stewart, McClellan, Lowe, even Bryant Jr. One guy that we're patiently waiting, and he had some struggles with the grades before, and I think he's really getting back into it. And someone that could be an X factor, honestly, is Jurrion Dickey. This is a wide receiver that really can make big things happen. When he was coming out of high school, it's like, oh, snap, this is the second coming of, I want to say Julio, because he was really that strong. Like the way you saw him play in high school is like, oh, snap, this guy can go up there and get it, and he has that strength to make big plays happen. As it off the field, that has been a problem for him. He's really coming along, and hopefully this is a time where, again, we talk about the bench players are just as important as the starters. When those guys need a breather, the bench players stand to move the change, right? So Dickey could see something from him. But it doesn't stop with the wide receivers. We can go on and on with the Oregon wide receivers and who they have, because they have a phenomenal freshman class coming in. They get guys from the transfer. They have depth there, but they also have depth in the tight end room. And Terrence Ferguson, don't sleep on him. If you're doing your rookie drafts and, you know, all that kind of stuff, Terrence Ferguson is a guy that I think he could honestly be a day 2 pick. I feel like that. If not, he's probably going round 4, round 5. But Ferguson, I will be slept on. I'm telling you right now, he's going to be slept on, and he's someone that can make it happen. He's a complete tight end. He can get your blocks. He can run up and down the field. He can make plays after the catch as well. He's gone. Okay, so NFL, good luck. Whoever drafts him, you're going to be happy for him. But tight end room, Kenyon Sadiq. This is a guy, again, we saw some flashes of him and what he can do, because he had some explosive playmaking opportunities as well. He's someone that 24 receptions, 308 yards, right? Great size, 6'3", 245. He's not as much as your all-around tight end, but he is someone that he can go down the field. He can pick up your blocks. You know, I think that's going to be an area of opportunity for him to get more in the blocking scheme. But he's someone that he is very quick in what he's doing. He's someone that can go out there 5-10 yards, get the ball, and he's going to be strong enough to power through. You know, again, we saw some glimpses of him making some big plays, and it's like, wait, who's this guy? Where did he come from? Right? Sadiq, I think, is going to go in there and be the tight end 1 for the team, as far as be possibly Dante Moore's escape plan. When the press is coming in, it's going to be Sadiq that he gets there real quick, right? Now, they did bring in a transfer from Louisville as well, and Jamari Johnson. He's a little bit bigger of a tight end there for him. And he did have an injury last year, so it's going to be interesting to see what he comes in as. But 6'5", 265. So this may be the guy that they have at the goal line more so than they will Sadiq. So Sadiq may be their field guy that they're going to bring down all the way. And when we get into that red zone, we're going to have someone like Jamari Johnson come in because, again, pretty tall guy, pretty big guy, pretty strong guy that could go out there and make the plays. And we saw a little bit of what he did at Louisville before he went down with injury. So I'm excited to have him because every tight end room, I don't care who you are, every tight end room needs a tight end that could be a red zone threat. Because you need that, because when you get into that red zone, defenses really dial in and focus in. So you need someone like a Jamari Johnson that can be your red zone threat. So when those defenses are closing in, trying to play a little bit closer to you to avoid you getting to the end zone, you need someone like Jamari Johnson that can run a seam route, go straight up and make the ball and make the catch in there as well. So I'm excited to see what he can do. It's going to be interesting seeing how his recovery ends up going, what he does during training camp. Sadiq will be the one. Jamari Johnson is someone that can be nice as well as we go through. Now, as far as that, last year, if you followed us during the season, the very beginning of the season, we talked about the toughness, how Dan Lanning said, hey, we know what Oregon is, right? Explosive. But we're going to the Big Ten. We need to have that toughness. And that toughness starts in the trenches. And exciting for Oregon, we're getting a new offensive line coach in Carl Leftwich, someone that was with us prior to, went to North Texas, had a top offensive line at North Texas, now coming back, which is great because, as I said earlier, we're losing Connerly, we're losing Cornelius, two of the top guys for the Oregon offense coming in, and now we have this guy coming in. So we're really hitting it on all the chords right now with the Ducks because not only are we still keeping the trenches strong, still having the same fundamentals of this is where we win football. If we could win in the trenches, we could win the games. And we kind of saw that as they formed a little bit tougher. We talked about during the season, beginning, Oregon was looking for their identity in the Big Ten. They caught the stride as the season went along. Playoffs happened, whole different thing. They caught the stride, though, as the season went along. But that stride happened because not only on the offense side, defense side of the ball, the trenches made it happen. They started playing more physical on both sides of the ball. They started allowing more things to happen on both sides of the ball because it started in the trenches. The offensive line got better at picking up the blocks, got better at going down the field and making blocks for the running backs, got better at making sure Dillon Gabriel had a clean pocket to make his throws down the field, to hit Tez Johnson, to hit Evan Stewart. They did that. We're continuing that focus. We loved what Carl Leftwich did. It's coming back. Hey, let's bring you back, man. We're ready for you. Let's have this opportunity. He's going to go in there with a new mentality, right? Because some of the guys that are returning didn't have him last year, right? So now it's like, okay, we have some guys like Lalo that's going to be the focus. He should be the leader going in, right? We talked about the guy in Matthew Bedford, right? That needs someone that can be that leader, that coach. This is something that Carl Leftwich is going to do, and because he's going to help build the trenches up even further, that's going to push everything back in the sense of it's going to allow Dante Moore to breathe. It's going to allow him to get some opportunities to not be pressured as much. It's going to allow the Red Sea, if you will, to open up for your Makhi Hughes, for your Noah Whittington as well. It's going to allow the wide receivers to not have to stress about, I need to make my plays real quick. It's going to allow them to focus and saying, all right, let me see where the soft spot in coverage is because I know my quarterback has space, has room to make the throws as well. So there are some exciting things to happen in the Oregon Ducks locker room when it comes to offensive side of the ball. Defense wins championships, right? Defense wins championships, but offense wins games. And the offense is going to come in there and win these games this year. I'm excited and stoked to see what happens for the Oregon Ducks. As I mentioned, we lost some playmakers. We lost some hitters on both sides of the ball. But this new era, man, this new team we're bringing in, these are guys that are hungry. These are guys that now have a chip on their shoulder, if you will. We won the Big Ten. That wasn't enough. Now we need to go out there and win that natty. These guys want it. They're hungry for it. We're going to see some big improvements happen this year in the Oregon Ducks. Next time we talk to y'all, we're going to go into depth on the defense. Again, we'll talk about the NFL sometime, when they come in. We will see what's happening. But we have some Oregon Ducks that are going pro that we got to say go Ducks or pro Ducks, if you will. We'll talk about them. But next time, we'll talk about the defense. Until next time, this is the CFP Nation. I'm S.C. Romero. Peace.
Everybody got goals and aspirations. You know how you get those? You be the best where you're at.
What does Evan Stewart bring to the table here? In short, you get a ball.
the grass is not always green. In fact, the grass is